Hello, Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity, and today we're going to talk about a topic that I have been pushing for many years now, and that is a short burst aerobic activity. We started to recognize this a long time ago that we're probably exercising too much in the wrong way. So when I tell people that they really just need to exercise for 5 minutes, most people are skeptical and really just don't follow that advice. And yet the research continues to support this concept of high intensity aerobic. We're not talking about like a Orange Theory type, maintaining that 70-80% fat burning zone. We're talking about intense activity for 30 seconds or whatever that would happen to be. Now, there's a lot of different flavors with high intensity aerobic, and that's what this study looked at. It was quite an in-depth, interesting study, and they looked at basically people who were in shape and people who were athletes, 92 of them, and they followed 6 different patterns of exercise. Each one of them did this, so it wasn't just one group did this. Every person did these 6 variations. The 3 of them were high intensity, so there was one of them was, and none of these are generally what I recommend, but we're all in the same flavor. So 5 sets of 40 minutes at, 5 sets of 4 minutes at 90% intensity with 2.5-minute rest in between. So again, you're going pretty intense for 4 minutes, 2.5-minute rest, another 4 minutes up. 4 minutes, and then the 5 sets of that. The other one was 30 seconds all out, 30 sets with a 30-second rest in between. So this is really that jump up, rest down, jump up, rest down without regard to rest time. That's not a good, I like the 30 seconds, but I don't like the 30-second recovery. Then the other one was basically 1 minute all out, 15 reps of that with a 1 minute rest in between. So basically 1 minute all out, down. These are all exercising around the same duration, which is about 15 minutes in those and 20 minutes in the first version. The other one they looked at were threshold exercise, which is kind of has everything to do with the definitions get a little bit complicated, but the threshold is has everything to do with lactic acid buildup, kind of running up to that point and then dropping back down. There was a speed endurance production, and then there was the low intensity continuous exercise, which is what most people seem to think that aerobic does. Lots of data in this, so if you're really bored and really geeky, you can certainly read into it. But here's some of the take-home messages, is that the low intensity took 56% more time to burn the same amount of energy. And in general, the participants found that the low intensity continuous was the least enjoyable. 45 minutes on the treadmill can get a little bit boring if that's what you're doing, as opposed to this constantly changing activity. What I typically recommend is 30-second bursts. That is, as I'm going pretty intense. I can't describe this enough, that we have to burn out all the oxygen in our body. I think elliptical does this really nicely. My rest time really just depends on what I'm watching on Netflix. I don't think that the rest times matter as much as does the actual activity. So again, there's a study I'm going to point out in the next couple weeks where people just did these short bursts throughout the day and still had a good outcome. So I believe that the short burst is what's important, not the rest time. So quite frankly, take whatever rest time you want, but that 30 seconds, I recommend 10 sets. So if your math is good, that's 5 minutes of actual exercise. That concept fits in with everybody's lifestyle. If you're on a trip somewhere, I know like when we go to Vegas, like we may walk 8 or 10 miles, but I never pass up a set of stairs. Running to the car, like it's not that hard to do 30 seconds of a short burst something. We just have to make it an effort. And these people generally found that if I didn't mention it, the short burst was more enjoyable than was the long distance one. So those are all factors. It's less time, better outcomes, and more enjoyable, if you will, or at least less undesirable as exercise. So get your butt off the couch and start moving and run out of oxygen. Walking around the block is just not going to do it. We need to ask more of our bodies so it can provide better for us. As always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.